As a director, I was at home. It was after hours, and so we're on call. So we got a call that there was a mass casualty incident.
Adene Smith, a director of nursing at Cox Branson, says her workday started the day after the duck boat tragedy.
Sometimes it's better to just wait and see what your role is going to be. So I was on standby, so my role really didn't start till the next morning.
Say hi.
Smith and her therapy dog, Gus, went into action.
I knew he'd be particularly important that morning. Animals are very good with kids. There were several kids involved that were in terrible shock. So my role was to hit the ground running and go see those kids first thing in the morning. So that's what we did.
She says she knew it was bad, but she soon learned it was worse than she expected.
We had several people, but I was expecting a lot more people. It was unfortunate that we had more that passed away that made it to the hospital for us to care for, and that's always a difficult thing to swallow. I come from a trauma background, so I've seen a lot of terrible things in my experience as a nurse, but you don't really have to deal with the heavy emotional impact that this particular incident had. The kids that I encountered.
The first child Smith and Gus visited lost his entire family.
I just sat on the bed with him, with Gus, my dog, and he played and helped that child just kind of have a sense of normalcy for a minute.
The boys shared that he had a dog, but his mom, who died in the tragedy, was the only one who knew where the dog was. Now his biggest concern was where he was going to live and would he be able to take his dog.
So our staff went into action, and social workers and everybody, and they were able to find his dog. And he did end up living with an uncle who let him keep it. We don't really deal with emotion until it's kind of after the fact. Some of the cases that we dealt with, you couldn't help but get emotional.
1 year later, Smith remembers.
This little girl, her name is Alicia. And this was in the Chicago Tribune, and that's my dog, Gus. And she's 12, so she's the same age as my daughter. And this hangs in my office, and I look at this every day. You know, because you just think about how precious life is and how it can be taken in a second. And so I think about that every day. It wasn't just nurses, it wasn't just doctors, it was administrators, it was food service people, it was housekeeping. Everybody in this hospital played a part in helping take care of these patients that day, and it made me so proud to be part of this organization and to work with all of them, honestly.
In Branson, Chrystal Blair, Ozarks First.